Welcome to Off the Post, brought to you by Lights on Electric and Cover All Exteriors. I'm Russ Cohen. We've got Anthony Mingione. And how are you?
Doing okay today, Russell. How are you?
Good. Yeah, the comments they're firing up, or at least Randy is. And we have Michael Della. Mike, how are you?
A thermos full of Tang.
Wow. Yeah.
Just kidding.
You have that in
I'm not having Tang, but I am drinking something now that has an orange flavor to it now in the morning.
What, okay. Sunny Delight?
No.
Sunny D, oh my God.
To emphasize the fact that this is in fact becoming a three old men show. Men
well, Mike and Buzz Aldrin like Tang, so that's fine.
There we go. Yeah.
So let's talk about something fun. The Olympics. Now this is something, Anthony, the guys in Italy may know concrete, but they don't know shit about a hockey rink. And they made this rink like 3 feet short, and the NHL's pissed.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, I think there's a better than 50% chance they're not going.
They know concrete, but they don't know measuring tape.
So yeah. I mean, it's just it's befuddling, but I'm glad And this is on the IHF. The agreement was the agreement, and this is this situation is one of the biggest crocs of horse shit I've ever heard with regards to it. I did get a good chuckle out of Mike's odd comment. That was
good.
That was fantastic, Michael. Pat yourself on the back for that one.
Yes,
that's exactly what it is. This is ridiculous, and the league absolutely should hold the feet to the fire. And the players, as much as they want to play in the Olympics, they've got to look at the situation and say, this is dangerous. I mean, It's not like it was years ago. Players are bigger, stronger than ever before, and faster. And the chances of player injury, I think, in my opinion, increase unquestionably in this case, because it's one thing if you're on a larger ice surface to compensate for that, and the play is what it is. But the fact that it's smaller than an NHL rink, I mean, it's to me it has. I don't want to be sky is falling, Chicken Little here, but I would be very concerned about any of my
use the disgrazia word if you want, whatever.
Disgraziato.
There you go.
Now, here you go. But for those youngins out there who didn't get my reference, us three old men, we know there were 3 arenas in the NHL in the 70s and early 80s that were less than was it 200 by 85? Is that
yeah?
And that was the Boston Garden, Chicago Stadium, and the Odd in Buffalo. And the Odd was it was like 5 feet short. I think
Boston Garden didn't have air conditioning either. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar lost like 20 pounds in the playoff series.
And Boston Garden, I think, was the smallest one.
In case you're wondering why the Boston Celtics won as many NBA titles as they did.
The parquet was sweating. But parquet? No. But the issue here is, and I think it was Craig Button said it on TSN radio. He said that in one previous Olympics that they screwed up the ice plant in one of the arenas, and with around 3 feet away from the boards, the ice was basically slush. So it's like, I mean, this is the reason why the NHL didn't want to friggin' go. But the PA was dragging them kicking and screaming into this bullshit.
I'm not going to get on the PA about this again.
The players
wanted to play in it, but the players have no control over what the IIHF, and what the Olympic and what the host city does with regards to getting things ready for an actual tournament.
Now, I asked just like basic questions. I was like, do they have the 3 chillers? Do they have the? I don't even know what they have.
Well, the question here is, and you know as well as I do, if they had a tournament, if they had the Olympic tournament, and they did the same thing as the 4 nations, meaning they played it in Montreal and Boston, it would sell out in 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. And if you just said, well, we're giving the money all to the IOC, there shouldn't be a problem here, but we have to have it in Milano. Bull crap. I mean, if there's a player that gets hurt because of this bull crap, if I was the NHL, I would sue the IOC for $1 billion.
You're going through, and again, this is where You're shutting the league down. You're compressing the schedule. There's a whole ripple effect that's been involved in it. Players have, obviously 4 games, 6 nights, 6 games, and 10 nights. Yeah. Everything being, home heavy, and then you're on the road forever. All to bend over backwards to get to account for this event, and you can't even get the goddamn rink correct.
And I would say why, and again, this is old men yelling at clouds. Why can't they have this event in the summer when the NHL is not having a season?
I mean, all you have to do is say, "Hey Siri, what's the measurements of an NHL rink?" Like, come on, man.
200 by 85. Yeah, exactly.
It'll get together. Ciao.
Yeah. So anyhow, we move on from that.
One other thing that they said on TSN, which I completely agree with, and I think wasn't the announcement of the World Cup seedings today, or is it today or tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see it yet.
The World Cup, they would never accept a field that was 1 foot short or didn't have the right surroundings. There's no way on God's green earth they would, but because the NHL and the PA and more pointedly the players are so hot and bothered to go, they're just gonna say, what the hell? Just throw up our hands. Okay.
Well, then players get injured, and that's going to be on everybody involved for going forward with it.
Yeah. All right. So all the worlds collided last night. The Flyers played the Sabres, and there's a lot to take out of that game. I don't think the Flyers were as good as they looked, and I don't think the Sabres were as bad as they looked, but I think it's good to get
the coverage from the Sabres was pretty sus.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been sus all year. They just, this time they didn't score as much. But my biggest thing was when I was in the Sabres locker room, I got a sense of how the guys are, and they're shaking their heads. They're talking about being frustrated. Like, this is the thing. You can't clear the air of this organization this year. It's not going to happen. They could go on a 10-game win streak, which they're hoping they do, and they talk about it, but they're hoping against hope, Mike.
I know I'm being overly dramatic, but there is a stench of death in the Sabres locker room. I mean, in terms of losing, it really is, because, I mean, okay, Elliot Friedman came out yesterday and said Tage Thompson is not asked out. Rasmus Dahlin is not asked out. They want to stick with the team, but everything will be looked at the end of the season. Well, okay, I think we know where they're going here because of, they're a roller coaster. They win 2 games in a row. They beat Winnipeg. They play great. They go on the road. They have their head up their ass for 59 seconds. They take a bad penalty that they allow a power play goal. I don't know what Lindy Ruff was doing when he reviewed that goalie.
Let's talk about that for a second.
I think he put a little too much faith in Ellis's reaction and figuring there had to be something in there that we caught. So I think he put faith in that, and that was the problem.
And on his penalty killing, which going into the game was second in the NHL, he figured if I lose it, my penalty killers will kill it off. That's what I think part of the equation was. So,
let's hold it for 1 sec, though, because I remember we looked at this. We were looking at it in the press box, and my initial thought was, no, this is a good goal. And then I was like, there's a little contact with the blocker. I said, but I wouldn't have challenged it. But I think the desperation of the Sabres to take a goal off the board and not fall further behind is what's sort of ruling this team right now. It's a bad mentality.
Right. That's not the reason to review a goalie for a goalie interference. So they let it go. They get the penalty for the delay of game. Zegras scores to make it 2-1. Was it Brink that scored?
Brink gets the third one. Yep.
The third one. And the game was essentially over with at that point. Now, after the game, Lindy Ruff says, well, our top players didn't come through. Thompson took a bad penalty. Tuck had a bad clear. What he didn't mention was Rasmus Dahlin and his horrible impulse control. I'm telling you right now, and I said this on X. Rasmus Dahlin is one of the most talented players in the league, no doubt. He's one of the best. He's one of the premier offensive defensemen in the league. He logs a whole bunch of ice time. He is respected in the locker room, but throughout his career, and it's gotten worse over the last few years, he has no impulse control and shows frustration at the worst possible times. He did it against Austin Matthews, and then Austin Matthews responded against him with a cross check that got Matthews suspended, but Dahlin should have been suspended as well. And he's taken stupid penalties. And that one yesterday, where he slams Zegras into the boards and gets a 5 in a game. I mean, if there was any hope of them coming back in that game, it was ended there. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of leadership that is.
2 goals down at that point, or was it 3 goals down at that point?
I think it was 3. It's 4-1.
All right. So, I mean, it's almost one of those cases where that's not good, especially for the captain. And I know where things are.
Peace out. That's what it was. Peace out.
It was like this game's, by taking that call, you just torpedo any chance. The end of the second period, you get right past the whole worrying about a goal going against you in the final 2 minutes because, they're not going to be striking back the other way. And there's 5 minutes you got to kill. And there's another almost 2 minutes at the start of the third period that you got to deal with.
The frustration in Buffalo, and we know it's boiling over because it's 14 years and probably going to be 15.
You could feel it. I could feel it. I'm never in their locker room, Mike, and I could feel in the temporary locker room that it's not right. You could feel it.
I used the word when I was on with Jeff Merrick a couple months ago. I said it's palpable. You feel it. It's thick in the air. The negativity and like the waiting for the next thing to go wrong. And it's like, okay, they had a great game against Winnipeg. Josh Norris comes back. He scores a couple goals. But defensively, this team, I mean, they really don't have a clue sometimes, and that's the
problem. They definitely didn't have a clue defensively.
And who was Paul? It was Paul Bissonnette. Normally, I don't take my cues from Paul Bissonnette, but he did say Buffalo has the softest defense minus Dahlin in the NHL. And they're not exactly small. I mean, Matthias Samuelsson.
No. I mean, but the guys they have. Like Owen Power is not going to crush you. Like that's not the way these guys.
Power to me, it reads closer to a sort of a young Ekblad, in that I think he's bent more towards offense than defense. Yeah.
I think
Samuelsson used to be physical, but this game he was not.
Samuelsson has been banged up so many times now.
I wouldn't say Ekblad because Ekblad, even early in his career, was still physical. He's a young Jay Bouwmeester.
Bouwmeester's better. Yeah,
good skating, talented defenseman, but not interested at all in physicality. And you have guys like Connor Timmins and Matthias Samuelsson. The reason they aren't physical is because if they are physical, they will get hurt because Timmins has been hurt his entire career, and so is Samuelsson. But the thing is, to be successful, you have to have defense that will clear the front of the net and that will play positionally sound. And they don't. And the problem is they will follow up 2 wins with 2 losses, with 2 wins with 2 losses, and it's roller coaster. And at the end of the year, you end up with 80 points because you're 500.
Yeah, that's exactly what Byron said. He's like, you win 2, you lose 1. It's like you lose 2. He went through the whole thing. He did. I will say this though, Ant, and this is something else the Sabres players talked about, and we did see it. Even though the Flyers were opportunistic on offense and Sam Ersson had a good game, there was a lot of room out there for Buffalo to skate in the middle of the second and the third, and they knew it.
Yeah, I think that's a habit that the Flyers have to get better about in terms of when they get it when they gain a lead, they have to have that mindset of being just tighter defensively. And this is the concern, you do have when you lose a Forster, and we're thinking about the goal scoring here, but Forster's a pretty good all-around player defensively. And then you look at the rest of the Flyers, blue line. That's one of the biggest concerns I think that I have with the group. And then you lose Cam York.
Yeah.
And that you're one of your 2 best defensemen, one of the top 3 defensemen, and that kind of gets things a little bit loose. There still is I think this group still has a learning process that's involved. I think they lean a lot on Tockett's system, and rightfully so. It has worked, but there's some periods of inactivity where I feel like whoever the opponent is, they're not as engaged as they should be, and maybe they look at the Sabres and just say, subconsciously, not consciously, like it's the Sabres, or they're gonna they're gonna fold, especially if you get
that's a dangerous. But it's
dangerous, exactly, because now they have to look at the video of that second and third period and go, you got Colorado on Sunday.
Right.
You get soft on Colorado, you're gonna be down 4 goals before you even know it hit you.
Yeah. So I feel like the elephant in the room for this broadcast is we'll probably have to mention Carter Hart came back and he won a game. He didn't play great. And that's all I feel like saying. But you guys,
okay. I didn't expect greatness out of him. The fact of the matter is the other option was was Schmid.
Yeah.
So it's not like they had any really. That's the reason why he was up on recall almost immediately. They probably would have kept him down a little longer. But when you don't have 8-0, you got to basically look at the situation and say, let's give this a go. We feel like we've got a good enough defense in front of him to compensate for it. But I thought, watching Hart's performance, I thought it was an okay performance first game back. It was very much a case of you felt like he was dipping sort of dipping your feet in the pool for the first time in a long time. And we'll see as we go along, because again, until Hill's back, I feel he's going to get play here.
I mean, I'm not surprised Hart played as soon as he did, because the Vegas goaltending situation is a complete mess. I mean, Hill's injury has affected. I mean, it's affecting Team Canada because he's probably out of the loop for the Olympics. I mean, I'm skeptical whether Hart can really get back to where he was when he last played for the Flyers. It's going to take him some time to do that. But if you look at what that team is going to be, and I still think they're going to need to add at least 1 defenseman and maybe 2 before the trade deadline if they're going to have a good chance at winning the Stanley Cup, because they're coming up against 800-pound gorillas like Dallas and Colorado in the West. I don't think they can do that with Shea Theodore being the number 1 and then really a drop off from 2 to 6. So I think that their problems are bigger than their goaltending.
You need more out of Hannah. I think you guys. How are you guys on Hannafin?
Hannafin's a good.
Hannafin's good. I feel like Hannafin is like your again. He and Theodore together are kind of like a really solid, rock solid, first pairing in this case. But
and Mark Stone's actually playing.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
For now.
By the way, just a follow-up comment with regards, we have Kaleem in the chat here saying the Flyers are 3rd in the Metropolitan. Well, you guys thought that they would be last. Give them some respect. We are giving them respect.
We're giving them respect, but it's early.
It's still early, number 1, and number 2, there has to be as well. You have to see with your own eyes as well that for a team that does not always put a lot of goals on the board, their margin for error defensively to play soft defensively is not a high one. And I think that has to be, that has to be realized in this case, that the defense has to be really good, and you can't get into bad habits, especially when you're going to go up against a team like Colorado.
So, as Randy was saying in the chat room, Ryan McDonough got extended 3-year deal, 12.3.
4.1. I think it was a 4.1. Yeah. 4.1 million cap hit.
I love Ryan McDonough, but I do think there's a point, like 3 years. Is he going to make it 3 years?
He might. It's possible.
But it drops off if he retires, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh,
it drops if he retires at 4.1. That's a very good. That's
a low hit.
That's a low hit for a guy who's reliable.
Yeah.
I looked at that deal and I saw the age and I was like, this is solid. He's playing well, right?
No, he's playing pretty good. I mean, he doesn't play as much. Let's be fair. He has been banged up.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, he's had those moments. And again,
and that's the only place he wants to play. I haven't
seen the only place. That's
I haven't seen the details of the deal, but I would assume it's got a no movement clause because he probably took less to say I'm staying in Tampa. There's not going to be the same bullshit where you're going to trade me after the Stanley Cup because of cap reasons. But he took the deal that Steven Stamkos wouldn't take. He took less. And because he's 36, he took 3 years instead of 5 or 6 years. So I know Stamkos, they probably wanted to stretch out the AAV and over a number of years. He didn't want to do that. So I'm going to just say this too, Mike. As far as the trade deadline, it'll be up to teams like the Sabres as to what they want to do and the Canucks. But I'm pretty sure the Sabres were scouted last night in Philly
Byram's got one more year in his deal. Tuck is up this year.
Mhm.
And that's something where teams are going to start, blowing up the phone lines for the Sabres.
Yeah, but who are they calling? Who are they calling? Kevin Adams, or are they calling the senior advisor?
No, they're calling Kevin Adams.
I mean, you have to keep in mind, we also have a mini deadline, trade deadline coming up with the holiday roster freeze. So I think teams are maybe accelerating their review. They're accelerating their viewing right now in case they want to make that pre-Christmas move.
We have to make sure, because I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong in the instance of Philadelphia last night, but Julian Brisebois and Don Sweeney were in Buffalo, and they weren't in Buffalo to look at the Sabres.
Right. There were people there who weren't with the Olympics at all that are usually not out.
They were in Buffalo to look at Mark Scheifele with Winnipeg, and apparently they were in Montreal last night to look at Nick Suzuki. So they're making their due diligence.
Oh yeah, for Olympics, that's a different thing. This was something else that I had noticed, but I do think that those are a factor. And then, Quinn Hughes, even though like the word out of New Jersey is like what people tell us is, probably in the summer. I don't think so. I think it could be swung at the deadline. And I'm not sure, based on Hughes's play lately, that he's all that thrilled with staying there. So I think that's going to start to accelerate again.
I think it's going to accelerate. And I'd probably say at this point now, I mean, there's a lot of teams that are going to be in the mix for him, but I do think Detroit is absolutely going to be in this. I really do. I think
they're going to try.
No, I think they'll try. I think they can pull it because, again, and I know what Elliott stated, that there's center depth in Detroit that would be enticing, and it's tough to say no if you think you can get one of their top defensive prospects and get a potential center in there. I think Detroit can very much make it worth their while. In many ways, in some ways, I would almost, as much as everyone wants to say New Jersey because of the connection there, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say that Detroit really, in some ways, if you look at the pieces that could line up, that they may have even more than what Jersey has or what Philadelphia might have.
Well, I mean, it's all under the assumption that Yzerman can get Hughes signed when he's available to sign the extension on next July 1st. Otherwise, everybody's saying, and everybody's putting the deal together. Well, if it's New Jersey, it's Mercer, it's Nemec, and it's probably a first-round pick. And that's probably before the deadline because you get 2 playoffs out of them.
It could be Siliev, Mike. It might not be Mercer.
Okay. I mean,
you're acquiring 2 defensemen then?
Because Siliev's not in the NHL yet, but he's getting closer.
Because the thing is that they're looking to potentially, Vancouver looking to move off of a forward. They may be looking for a forward in return.
They may still get that too.
They can get both. They can get a defenseman and because that's what it feels like to me. Is that defenseman and center are what Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what they're going to get, but we'll see.
Mercer solves the number 2 center behind.
If you believe him to be a full-time center,
but if you're talking Detroit, and again, here's unreasonable Mike in his role as general manager. And he's having a very bad year, but I'm asking for Marco Kasper, and I'm asking for Sandin Pellikka and a first-round pick. And if I don't get that, then I don't even talk to Detroit. I'm just not. I mean, you're not going to get Raymond. You're not going to get Larkin. You're not going to get DeBrincat. So who are you going to get? Okay, then the next guy is Kasper. He's only got 3 goals in 27 games, but that's the type of guy that I'm saying, okay, I can build around that guy. And Sandin Pellikka, well, you pair him with Willander, and then you've got yourself 2 young Swedes on the blue line. I mean, plus a first-round pick. That is palatable. But wherever he goes, it makes more sense to move him before March the 6th because of the fact that a team acquiring him, even if it's a team not named New Jersey, you get 2 playoffs out of him. And if it's a team that knows they have no chance at re-signing him, like if he gets traded to Colorado or Dallas or someplace like that, at least they get the 2 playoffs out of him. But the cost they're going to be willing to pay for him will be a lot less.
Yeah, no, that's fair. We'll see how that goes. As far as the New York Rangers, they pulled one out against Dallas. They got shellacked by Tampa. That's just they're having that kind of season. But I've seen Ranger fans are kind of like, well, why do we have Shesterkin on this team if they're not good? Well, that's the only thing keeping them good is Shesterkin with a 912 save
because
percentage.
You're gonna ride through things because you have a franchise level goalie and you need to build around him.
Yeah.
If you're looking to move off Igor Shesterkin, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. He has a 912. The rest of the league is probably at like an 898 right now. It's lower than it's usually.
It's been because I mean, especially with goals and teams are just become like you and I have discussed. The league's gotten stingy on registering shots
because of the gambling aspect. That's why
they've gotten tighter with that. And then but I also think teams are passing a ton more trying to get that perfect play.
They are.
And that again leads to, if those goals do go in, lower save percentages as a result.
No question. I think both of those things you're apt with that.
Well, honestly, we're getting away from looking at just general shots anymore. Now it's it's high danger chances. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah. We're kind of in that direction. And but yeah, I've seen Shesterkin recently and he's making unbelievable saves. He only has a record of 11-9-2, but that's not on him.
No, and you know, there's no greater area in terms of reflecting the difference between save percentage bad versus save percentage good than with the good old blue and white, because Anthony Stolarz was, I think, in the 880s or maybe low 890s in his save percentage because he played so many games and because he was injured. And you can't convince me. I don't know what, nobody knows what the injury is that he's out with right now. They won't say, but maybe the way he was playing injured before then, and that's very possible. But Dennis Hildeby, who they didn't think could play more than 3 games, so they picked up Caden Primo instead. Dumb. And Joseph Wall, who comes back after the leave of absence. I think their collective save percentage is in the 910s. And that's the reason why the Leafs are playing better now, because they're getting good goaltending.
But what about their power play, Mike?
Well, I mean, I've been railing against this. Even when it was successful last year, and mildly successful, it was always that double-edged sword. It was always that 5-forward power play. But at least you had Mitch Marner, who is a good puck carrier.
He's a great puck carrier. Let's be real.
Okay, a good puck carrier, a great passer, a good two-way defender. He's not a great defenseman, but at least he can get between a player and the goal. And okay, you've got Austin Matthews playing in the Marner spot on a 5-forward power play with Easton Cowan playing on the 5-forward power play, and they give up a shorthanded goal to Sam Reinhart when they're up 2-0 in Florida. I mean, give the frigging thing up. It doesn't work. You've got 2 power play point men. Okay, their power play has not been good this year. It hasn't worked with Morgan Rielly. You've got Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well use them.
Right. Or go back to Rielly. I mean, is Rielly as good as he was 3 years ago? No, before they started toying with the 5-4 power play? No, but he's still good. And
I'm willing to say, I haven't seen Ekman-Larsson shoot lately, but I'm willing to say he probably has a better shot than Rielly.
Yes, he does. Oh, I think so. And but what their intention is, well, we're playing Rielly and Ekman-Larsson as a pairing, so we're going to keep them as a pairing on the second power play and then go with 5 forwards on the first power play. It's asinine. It almost cost you a game. You cannot lose games right now with stupidity like they showed in Florida. They almost blew that game because of that moronic 5-forward power play.
Well, apparently the Flyers can get by without a center on the power play because that's they've been doing of late.
Well, let's talk about one other thing about the Flyers. So, Travis Sanheim on the power play played like 7 minutes the other night. Yeah. He hasn't scored a power play goal since 2019-20, and he has 0 power play points this year. So please illuminate me, Anthony, on why he deserves.
I'm not illuminating you on that. Again, it's one of those circumstances.
I refuse to illuminate you
because he's an he's out there to cover for a shorthanded chance again.
That's it. He's out there.
Then it's 4-on-4. Then I know. I get it.
He's on the power play for defense. Got it.
Exactly. And he's coming to cover the back end in this circumstance, which is why.
The only instance that any team should run a 5-forward power play is on a 2-man advantage. Yeah. That's the only one because the other team is totally defensive.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly. But I agree. You can go. My whole thing is you can go 4-1 with one unit. You can go 3-2 with another unit.
Mike,
or 3-2, 3-2. But most teams in the league are going 4-1 now.
Yeah, but Mike, if I were to ask Danny Briere, that Sabres team with the 5-forward power play was really good.
It was, but you had. It was Vanek, Briere.
We're talking about the Buffalo Slug. Era,
right? It was Vanek. It was Vanek, Briere, Drury. I think it was J.P. Dumont, and it may have been a Finneganoff. No,
you have to have at least one forward that's out there who can get back defensively.
It was Tim Connolly. Tim Connolly.
That's it.
That's it. Connolly.
It was either Connolly or Pominville, but for some reason,
God, that team was so much fun. That Sabres team.
They were.
Yeah, congratulations to Thomas Vanek being named to the IIHF Hall of Fame, along with Ralph Kruger, who should be in the almost overrated Coaches Hall of Fame.
I will say this about
the Rex Ryan of hockey coaches.
I will say this about Vanek. And this goes back a long ways. I think he was at the University of Minnesota. He had a goal that, if you go and look that up on YouTube, is one of the great goals that has ever been scored. It's just tremendous.
Yeah. Yep. He was a great player.
He was a talent. He just got beat down in the crease like
that's the thing. We always talk about guys having to go to the middle. Vanek was willing to do it.
His career got shortened doing it. His career got shortened by taking repeated cross checks to the back.
Yeah.
That's a rough part of the sport.
All right.
Food take, Russ?
Yeah. No. He's got something else. Holiday gift. You have a holiday gift take.
Oh, I do have a holiday gift take. I forgot about that. So yeah, I was looking. So you find these weird things out, and Netflix is suing like a producer, right? And it's like a guy who put out like a sci-fi series, and maybe he was going to do a series 2. And so there's an article, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, look, there was like all this money, like millions and millions of dollars that were allocated. There was a bidding war between all of the streaming services like Apple and everybody else, and Netflix won it. Turns out the series wasn't very good. They canceled it, and now they're in court. So one of the things that came out in court, and I forget the company name now.
Hostin, I think it is.
Hostin mattresses.
Yes.
They have a black mattress that is worth $500,000. And they had it was like $469 or something.
What does it do? So what is it that makes it special?
I saw they were hand stitching the coils together with, I don't know, Anthony. I did know this. It's like, you know how like some of the boxy kind of mattresses have handles? They look to be bedazzled. So I think that was the thing. Yeah.
Diamond encrusted handle,
like venting, like it's
like basically.
It's a black mattress, so it can never be cool.
Right. It was like over $400,000 for one. It was over 200 and something for the other. And I had to look this up. Like I was like, this is a great holiday gift for somebody, I guess.
I saw the text. Let me take a look. Let me go.
Maybe it's a purchase for P. Diddy in prison.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly didn't know there were mattresses that cost this much in the world.
But you have to remember something.
Okay.
How many hours of your life do you this is the classic pitch on every mattress. Yeah. How many hours do you spend lying down trying to get sleep? And how important is it that, of course, you get a really excellent night's sleep?
I'll go to
Bob's. It's important. And I'm not going to argue that. Not $500,000 is the answer to that question.
I'll go to Bob's and I'll get one for like $800 and I'll be just fine. I just was flabbergasted that I actually saw something that expensive.
If I hit the Powerball and won $800 million, there are things I would spend $500,000 on, not a mattress.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and they had a setup for a bed. It made it like $1 million or something for the whole bed.
Of course. And it's all just for a person to say, I have it.
like a gold toilet, right? Is that where we're at?
Whatever, gold toilet, whatever. It's just, it is what it is. If this is what, tickles your fancy.
Was that on sale in Mar-a-Lago?
No. It was auctioned off though, the gold toilet. I don't know the origin of it, but I saw.
I think it was Rush Limbaugh's toilet.
All right, that's it. That's it for Off the Post. We'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.